It's easy to forget how precious life is until that moment when we're fighting to try and save it. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of men and women whose caring brings hope on Rescue 911. We begin on January 27th, 1991, as Wayne Shoup was driving through the peaceful countryside near his home in Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
On this Sunday afternoon, Wayne had invited his friend Colleen Fry to join him for a ride in an antique carriage he had recently bought.
We have some beautiful trails and some beautiful roads in our area. It's away from traffic, aggravation. You get away from that when you're with horses.
Wayne had been training his horse Spider to pull a carriage for only a month. They turned off the highway onto a gravel road that led back toward Wayne's barn 4 miles away.
Spider was going along real fine. We were doing a nice road trot. What happened had nothing to do with Spider's attitude. It's a sight and flight animal, and they see everything as larger than life. We were coming to the edge of woods on my right-hand side. All of a sudden, there's a field and this bale of hay. And when I saw it, Spider started. So I'm assuming that he saw it basically at the same time I did.
Spider! Spider!
I thought the carriage was going to go over. I jumped out. The electric fence was there. When he hit the fence, he out and out spooked. And when a horse spooks, they run. When he touched the fence again, that frightened him further. He must have gone through the fence 3 different times. Every time Spider went into the fence, he got even more out of control. Wayne was half out of the carriage. I was scared to death. I figured sooner or later he was going to fall. I heard the initial crash of them going through the woods, then I heard nothing.
When we continue.
No. All his clothing had been torn off of his body and was wrapped around his throat.
Wait. Oh, my God.
We want to show you what an American car company can do when we put our minds to it. In 1989, this Dodge Viper was just a concept. In January, it'll be rolling off an assembly line in Detroit, Michigan. Nobody in the country ever developed a car that fast. From now on, every new car Chrysler makes is going to be built the way this one was. And that's by a team. Product and manufacturing engineers, designers, finance guys, and marketers, all working together with one idea, making a great car. And this is where they'll do it, our new billion-dollar Chrysler Technology Center. We'll have 7,000 people here, designing, testing, hand-building prototypes. There's even a pilot factory to get it right before we produce a single car. We've been telling you about Chrysler advantages for some time now. We've changed this company to give you even higher quality cars, faster, and at lower cost. For those of us who forgot, it's called being competitive.
True stories of cuts on the spot.
You want to see him? Yeah, just look back.
true stories of unbelievable crimes.
They lived the life of a human being without even giving it a second thought.
True stories of men and women, on duty and off, in defense of the law.
This was different because I had to think about the little boy and my wife.
True stories you'll always remember. True stories they'll never forget. Watch for the true stories on Top Cops, Thursday.
When Wayne Shoup was thrown from the carriage he was driving, his friend Colleen Fry watched in horror as the horse dragged Wayne a quarter-mile down the road and into the woods.
Wayne! Wayne, oh no! Oh no! Easy, Spider! Easy!
All his clothing had been torn off of his body and was wrapped around his throat.
Oh my God! Wayne!
I just ripped them off so he could breathe.
Oh my God! Easy, Spider! Don't move!
The foot was caught, but I could not get it out. He could not get air. He was having a very difficult time breathing. I also knew I could not unharness the horse myself in the state that the horse was in. And it was just a matter of time before Spider bolted, continued through this wooded area, and dragged Wayne to death.
Oh no!
David Cease and his family were out for a Sunday drive on a route they rarely ever traveled.
I thought perhaps that there was some kind of a gun accident or somebody with a gun after her.
What's wrong?
Help me!
What's wrong?
My partner's trapped and he can't get out.
Your partner, what?
There's a lot of hunters in those woods. So I was cautious because I had my family with me in the car.
Please, yes, come on.
All right, Deb, you stay here and watch the kids.
Spider. Easy, girl. Easy.
When I first saw him, I thought that he was dead. He was gone. The scene was a mess.
What do you want me to do?
Hurry!
Oh my God. Let me get your arms.
He was just pleading for help that instant.
Easy, boy. Easy, boy. That's it. That's Spider. Easy.
And go back a little bit more. All right, I got him free.
Some way we had to get this carriage off the top of this guy.
Yeah, move forward more.
She got the horse moving somehow, and I tried to lift the wheel as much as I could. I could see that he was in extreme pain, resting on his forearms, because he said it felt better.
Girl, easy, girl. Easy.
All right, buddy, just stay still, stay still. Why don't you move? You're gonna hurt yourself.
So I'm very cold, and I covered him up the best that I could.
Stay still.
I could see that the back of his head was ripped apart pretty bad.
Worried about her husband, Debbie Cease drove down the road to see what was happening.
Yeah, Deb, go get an ambulance.
She found a phone at the nearest house a mile down the road and called for help.
I'm Chris Communications.
Hi, I'm calling. We need an ambulance on Lear Road. There's looks like a horse-drawn carriage overturned, and there's a man pinned underneath it. We were just driving by.
What part of Laura?
The bottom part. I'm calling from Cost Invaders.
Okay, we'll send them right down.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Welcome. Control Center to Bushco Township Fire and Ambulance personnel respond. Horse-drawn carriage overturned, man pinned underneath.
Members of the Bushkill Township Volunteer Fire Company were paged, along with local police and medic units.
I want no sirens to be used in case the horse is still attached to that carriage.
First to arrive was EMT Richard Tobias, who happened to be on vacation in the area.
When I got down to the bottom, he was hunched over, but I didn't want to move him at all. I just wanted to leave him where he was until we could better ascertain what was wrong with him.
Can you tell me what day it is?
He was bleeding pretty badly from his head down to his waist that I could see.
All right. Wayne, I got bandages on your head here because you're bleeding, okay?
What do you got?
Since he had pain in his chest and his stomach, he might have a punctured lung due to a broken rib.
Where's going? You got the horse back. Okay, just watch that.
Easy. Easy.
That's it. The horse was getting pretty upset because a lot of people were coming and they were starting to shout. So I went back, slapped the horse on the side, and told it to go and pointed where I wanted it to go, and it just took off.
Within 10 minutes, an ambulance got to the scene.
Shoulder bothers you, your leg bothers you, your chest hurts, right?
I knew he took down several trees with his body because he was hanging out of the carriage when they hit the woods.
Spider had managed to escape the incident with only minor cuts, but Wayne needed to get to the hospital as soon as possible.
Go ahead, get an Ira breather set up. 15 liters.
EMT Jennifer Werkheiser helped package him for transport.
In order to immobilize him, we put him on a backboard in a standing position. That's when we first saw the depression on his right chest.
Okay, John.
He was getting combative, and he was getting really anxious.
Get that thing out of here.
I'm just going to put it inside next to your face, okay?
A lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, well, he's fighting with us because he doesn't want us to help him. But usually that's a signal for some serious underlying injury.
He had severe trauma to the head, and they thought perhaps that he was out of his mind, and that's why he was reacting and acting the way he did. I personally wasn't too concerned about that because I know Wayne's personality, and he can be that way.
Wayne Shoup suffered a collapsed lung, 3 broken ribs, a cracked sternum, dislocated shoulder, and a multiple fractured leg. 3 months later, he's still in physical therapy, but he refuses to let it stop him from doing what he loves to do.
When that horse was running down the road at about 30 miles an hour, and I was holding on to the shafts in the rain, and my legs were pinned under, and the other one was in the wheel, the only chance of survival that I felt was put him in the woods. Otherwise, I'm going to die.
Spider is still his favorite horse.
The happiest moment was when Wayne got out of his truck after he was out of the hospital and went back to the barn and said, "Hey, Spider, how you doing?"
Is your old pinkies out here, man? That's my horse, my animal. He's a pal, friend, good buddy.
He loves that horse, and he knows as a horseman that what happened had nothing to do with Spider's attitude. It was just a situation, a bad situation, that fortunately he lived through this time.
Man, accidents happen. I will definitely get back in a carriage with Spider driving down the road. I have no fear of that. People ride horses, fall off, they get back on again and ride. So both the good Lord was on my side that day, but everybody that came to my rescue worked as a super fine crew and gave me the best medical attention that they could. I have to say that they saved my life, and thank you.
Next. We already knew he was armed with a knife. You don't know how volatile he's going to be. There's the possibility that he could have been armed with other weapons.
You know what I mean. Every month you grin and bear it because your maxi, and part of my bluntness, can feel wet. But we need to dry our maxi, right? Guess what?
Always with Dry Weave. Their maxis can stay wet on top. But everything from Always has our Dry Weave top sheet that pulls moisture into the core, away from you, keeping the surface cleaner and drier.
Next month, you'll know what to buy.
Always with Dry Weave. Cleaner, drier, better.
I consider myself a perfectionist. That's why I wear no-nonsense pantyhose, because they look great and can last through an entire concert without a snag. Now that's perfection.
No nonsense, the pantyhose that last.
When I've got the flu, I just want to crawl into a warm pair of flannel pajamas, hide under a warm down comforter. I just want to wrap myself in warmth.
That's why there's Tylenol Cold and Flu Hot Liquid with more medicine than any other hot liquid flu formula. Plus the Tylenol name you've always trusted, so it helps relieve your flu symptoms while its warmth comforts and soothes. Wrap yourself in warmth with Tylenol Cold and Flu. Nobody cares for your flu like Tylenol Cold and Flu.
Now Wendy's has 9 choices for 99 cents each, like a junior bacon cheeseburger, biggie fries, and baked potato, plus a new Caesar side salad and junior cheeseburger deluxe, all on Wendy's super value menu.
With what things cost, it's nice to get a break once in a while.
When there is an urgent need anywhere in the world, AmeriCare's crisis teams fly into action and hours later fly to the scene. AmeriCare's has helped millions, yet many more millions remain helpless. When disaster or famine bring homelessness and hunger, within hours, AmeriCare's brings relief. AmeriCare's, the first to bring help, the first to bring hope. Call 1-800-486-HELP.
It's baseball with a whole new spin, an unmistakable hit, and a definite miss.
Come on.
Major League Network premiere next. Thursday, he was an old college friend.
You're perfect for each other.
Another minus. Mother approves.
And now, as friends become lovers,
Maybe we should check out the room service in your hotel.
how will the defense rest?
These flowers are a gesture of friendship.
He wants out. And all new Trials of Rosie O'Neill, Thursday.
Ignoring AIDS isn't going to make it go away. AIDS is a tragic fact that's affecting everybody's lives. October is AIDS Awareness Month. Get the facts. Don't let ignorance kill you.
When we are confronted by the thing we fear the most, we can only hope that someone will be there to help. For Kathleen, a 28-year-old real estate agent, that moment came on May 17th, 1990, at her home in Menlo Park, California.
Apparently, the suspect in this case had been stalking this young woman for up to 8 years. She and the man met in high school. They were classmates. They were never really friends or even acquaintances. Stalking, sometimes it's to harm the person. Sometimes it may be just because they're infatuated with the person. It's really a scary crime because we often don't know the motive.
At 4:57 p.m., a call came in to Menlo Park Police Dispatcher Terry Rutledge.
911 emergency?
Yes, this is Wood City. My daughter, Kathleen, is at Fort. I think Larry, who has been harassing her, is in the house.
Why do you think he's there?
My wife just talked with her.
And she said that he was there?
She got that impression. I'm not really sure. I wasn't on the phone.
Is she home alone?
I believe she is. Yes, your people patrol there all the time. They're very aware of this.
Okay, we'll be right there.
Thank you very much.
Done to welfare check suspicious circumstances.
19.
All units in the area were immediately dispatched to the scene. Among those who responded was Terry's husband, Officer Lance Rutledge.
Most of us were familiar with the young lady and with this suspect. When we received the call, we knew that this was a potentially dangerous situation. I rolled that direction immediately, hell-bent for leather. I wanted to get there as quickly as possible.
Kathleen's father also rushed toward her house, worried about what the stalker might do this time.
I do remember just being almost paralyzed with fear. You get that taste in your mouth and that feeling of just utter helplessness. I was hoping, first of all, that there was some mistake. But probably you could say I was hoping for the best, but certainly fearing the worst.
As a woman, I could relate to the situation. It was especially frightening, and with his history of stalking her, I can't imagine what it must be like to be stalked for that period of time. the question came to mind whether he would even let her out of that house alive.
Concerned about what might happen before officers could get to the scene, Terry called the house.
Confirm you're supposed to be in the house with the ex?
Father believes so. I'm trying to confirm that. Hi, this is Terry calling from the police department. Is he in the house with you? Does he have any weapons? Yes. What does he have? Is it a gun? A knife? Yeah. Okay. Is he in the very same room with you?
Over here, trying to get up there.
Is it possible for you to pretend like I'm someone else and stay on the phone with me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So how are things going?
Oh, pretty good. I don't know. You know, this house that I was thinking of showing you tomorrow, I don't know if it's right. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's about $350,000, but the lot's kind of small, so I don't know. What do you think?
Kathleen dealt with the situation with an incredible sense of calm. I was really amazed that she was able to hold it together that well, and I was impressed that I don't think he could have possibly had an inkling of an idea that she was talking to the police department. What street is it on?
Cloud.
Cloud? Oh, that's a really nice area.
Yeah.
It was important to me for Kathleen to remain on the phone so that I could postpone maybe anything that he was going to do at the time and just buy us time. They're in the area. I'll let you know as soon as they get there.
Okay.
Okay?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to you if you want to see it maybe tomorrow.
10-4. What time do you want to do that?
Oh, probably. Well, what's yours? I don't have my appointment book with me.
Okay.
Well, how about if I call you back?
I'm sorry?
Do you want me to call you back? Can I call you back?
Sure. You sure you want to hang up?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, I have officers in the area, but they're not quite to your door yet.
Okay.
Okay, call me on 911, all right? I remember at the end of the phone call just not wanting to let her go. I was so worried that something would happen to her. I remember feeling really scared to hang up the telephone. I felt like I was losing the only contact that we had to knowing whether she was okay and what was going on in the house. And it was hard to just let it go and wait.
Shortly after Terry hung up, Officer Jim Simpson got to the scene.
We already knew he was armed with a knife. You don't know how volatile he's going to be. There's the possibility that he could have been armed with other weapons. So with that in mind, I approached the house from a silent approach so as not to alert anybody there as to my presence.
Within moments, the house was surrounded. All areas that could be covered were covered.
As soon as Police Chief Bruce Cumming arrived, he took command of the scene.
The information that we had at that time was that the man was inside the house, and so was the victim, and they had not come out of the house yet, so we had a short time to begin to plan what we were going to do.
We've got 2 officers positioned in the back and 2 in the front.
Okay.
Somebody's coming here.
Oh, that's the father. Why don't you go talk to him?
Okay.
The first officer I encountered said, yes, your daughter is inside, the intruder is in there with her, and he's got a knife. You hear that, and you just become almost frozen with fear.
We have officers all the way around the house, and we're going to find a way to get out of there.
I couldn't see into the house. I had absolutely no idea what he was doing in that house with her. As far as I know, he could have been killing her right then, or he could have been sexually assaulting her, or any number of things.
Finally, I don't remember how long it was, probably an hour, an officer notified us via the radio that they were coming out.
Come here. Stay here.
Freeze! Police! Get your hands up! Kathy, over here, run! Get your hands up! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Please! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Drop the gun!
The next thing I saw was my daughter rounding the fence and running toward me. We just grabbed each other, and the relief was just indescribable.
To run around the corner and see my father waiting there was great. And, you know, I felt safe, but at the same time saw how upset he was. And, you know, I felt more upset for him than me.
Just put it down.
Negotiations continued for some time at this point in an effort to get him to drop the gun. He just wouldn't do it.
No, we're not.
He acted despondent, irrational, finally pointed the gun to himself and said, hey, go ahead and shoot me. I've lost everything I ever wanted. Go ahead and kill me.
Don't do that to yourself.
There was no thought even of rushing him. You don't rush an armed man with a gun. What our training tells us that you talk to him, talk to him, talk to him. That's the safest way to do it. Time's on our side, basically. We just wanted to wait him out.
The standoff continued late into the night. Just before daybreak, members of the SWAT team were sent inside the house, led by Deputy Sheriff Warren Vanderside.
The negotiators told us over the radio that the suspect wanted to come into the garage. They told him that they couldn't allow him to come in there with his gun. He'd have to put his gun down.
Put it on the ground in front of the car.
Is that gonna hurt me?
Not gonna hurt you. Put the gun down. Just put the gun on the ground.
After 12 hours, the ordeal had finally ended.
Okay, okay.
When this whole thing was over, I felt a great sense of relief. I felt a great sense of accomplishment. But the story's not over. The story continues.
There is a good chance that he will try it again if he's been this obsessed in the past, that when he gets out of jail in 6 or 7 years, that he may try and find her again, and that's very frightening.
I don't believe the situation has been fixed. I don't think he's been fixed. He's going to come back. I feel he's going to come back. What's going to happen then? What are we going to have to do with him that time?
It's been a year since the incident.
And Ed's going back to
Kathleen has gotten married and tried to go on with her life, but it hasn't been easy.
I just am not the same person that I was before 1982. I look over my shoulder everywhere I go. I anticipate his arrival. I feel like a prisoner in my own home. Talking about the stalking bill, helping it get into law, helps me cope.
The man who stalked Kathleen pleaded guilty to 4 charges, but was sentenced to only 8 years and 8 months in prison. Kathleen is now working with a California state senator to get laws passed across the country that would upgrade stalking to a felony.
It was a very, very difficult thing to do, but it was a choice that I had to make because I want this person put away for as long as possible. This man is ruining my life, and I want him out of it.
Kathleen's husband, Greg, is grateful to all those who answered her father's call for help that day.
I'm glad that the Menlo Park Police Department was on top of things and was able to cut this off because it was, you know, she was ready to get in the car and he was ready to take her away, and who knows what would have happened after that. And I don't even like to think about that. They probably saved my wife's life. So I'm very thankful every time I see her.
I'm trying to live my life normally. I don't want to move. I don't want to change my identity. That's not right. I have a whole new outlook on life, not a negative one. I have a very positive one. I mean, I know that my life will never be the same, but I know I'm going to be just fine. I think I know now more than ever that I'm going to be just fine.
Next.
It was very heavy traffic for that time of day, and it's very fast. I remember seeing a deer run across the freeway.
Man, last week my cold was so bad. I was coughing, my head pounded, my nose ran. I'm sure I even had a fever. My cough medicine just couldn't handle that kind of cold. They had this in the infirmary, Vicks Formula 44M, M for multi-symptom. You know, it's better than the leading brand because it's complete cold care and a cough medicine. Pretty soon my body was telling me, hey, slacker, get back to work. That's some medicine.
Vicks Formula 44, a better type of relief.
Tide has changed. Today's Tide is Ultra Tide.
I know it sounds too good to be true, but it really works.
Instead of a cup, one little scoop.
Yeah, I can't believe one little scoop of Tide can get this out. The sauce has gone into the braid.
Today's Tide is ultra powerful, cleaning deep down inside. One little scoop cleans down to the fiber itself.
Even the braid's clean. Remarkable.
Today's Tide is Ultra Tide.
You're thinking you have laundry that's tougher? Try it.
Rescue 911 will continue.
Police battle a silent enemy under the gun. Then a family fights to keep their daughter's killer behind bars. A special 48 hours double feature Thursday.
Remember your favorite relative growing up?
We don't have favorites, Nathaniel. We love all our relatives the same.
We do?
Not really, but we pretend.
Remember little family dinners with big announcements?
Actually, I'm leaving Joel.
What did she say?
She said she's leaving Joel.
I heard what she said.
The show critics love. Brooklyn Bridge, now at 8 Friday.
This is CBS.
I joined the Marine Corps and served 2 years in the South Pacific during World War II. In 1972, I was elected Commissioner of Insurance. Look at those sidebars. The people elected me 4 times. Then, in 1987, Doug Green ran against me, and the roof fell in. Champion Insurance Company spent more than $3 million to defeat me. It ended in tragedy. Now I want to be your insurance commissioner. I'll straighten out the office, and that will be my final term. Won't you please help me?
Rock and roll is okay, but I prefer rap.
Awesome.
Wait a second. Shady Acres was supposed to get the Coke, and the frat house was supposed to get the Pepsi.
Coke, Pepsi, what's the difference?
I-24. This is radical.
Cheers. Weeknights after Eyewitness News on TV 10.
As random suburban sprawl spreads rapidly into the last open areas around San Diego, California, the wildlife is left with no place to go. Wild animals are forced into a tragic conflict with man that they cannot win, as a group of motorists found out on one spring morning. Some of the footage in this story was taped as events unfolded on May 19th, 1991.
Heading south on Highway 805 was off-duty Sheriff's Deputy Lisa DeMeo.
It was late Sunday morning, very heavy traffic for that time of day, and it's very fast. I remember seeing a deer run across the freeway towards the median, and it was struck by a car that was next to me. It just happened so quickly. The car kept going, and I started calling for help in my police radio.
Lisa's call came into the San Diego Sheriff's Communications Center.
Advice KHT, a large deer was just struck southbound I-805. It's still alive.
Chipper, is it going to need to be dispatched, or can Fishing Game save it, do you know?
No, it's on its back. I can't tell. I don't know about this stuff.
Copy. Station have a Fishing Game for any unit in the area of 805 and Governor Drive.
But the nearest Fish and Game officer was more than an hour away.
She was between the number 2 and 3 lane, and she was still alive. Traffic was still moving very fast, and they just missed her by inches on either side. And I thought at any moment she'd stand up and get hit again.
Gene Chaffin was also driving south on 805.
From my truck, I could see traffic divert around an object in the road. But as I got closer, I realized it was a deer in the road. And so I put on the flashers and managed to stay in front of the animal so I would block traffic.
Two other drivers, Steve Montgomery and Roger Lamberson, also stopped to help.
I got traffic stopped in the 2 slow lanes, and the 3 gentlemen who stopped picked her up, got her off to the shoulder, far off the shoulder, as far away from traffic as possible.
The main thing was supporting her weight and keeping out of the line of fire of the legs, because the hooves are very strong, and you know, someone could have been pretty badly damaged.
Got her, you okay? Yep.
The front right leg was shattered.
Is it just her leg? Can you tell? I didn't know what other injuries she had, internal injuries. I couldn't imagine just her leg being injured.
The deer was suffering badly. I mean, you could see it was frothing at the mouth, screaming, and the scream just drove you nuts. It was in just such terrible pain. I was raised in a country atmosphere on a farm, so I think I know at what point an animal can be saved and can't be saved, and you just knew that, you know, she couldn't be repaired. It just wasn't one of those deals where you just fix the animal's leg and she goes on her merry way.
Among the California Highway patrolmen who responded was Officer Gregory Mullendore.
The deer was in real bad shape, and it was very apparent that it wasn't just a simple break. There was bare bone there, and there was muscle tissue, and it was high up on the animal's leg.
She's got to be put down. She's suffering real bad.
It didn't take long to realize that this man was a valuable asset at the scene, and certainly the only humane thing to do would be to put the animal out of its misery.
I'll do it.
Okay. So she calms down.
And it was over. He just a pop and it was over.
I don't mind telling you that I didn't feel real good at that point. I just simply got up and walked away about 15 feet and stood there.
It was upsetting, period. And I was glad that it was over, but it was the right thing to do. So I hope that he doesn't lose any sleep over it because he did the right thing.
At that point, the deer's stomach started to actually kick. And I mean, it was visible, it started moving.
You're not going to believe this, but she's pregnant.
Suddenly the focus shifted to the possibility that might be a living creature inside her. And what can we do about this?
I knew that it was a matter of minutes before that fawn died of oxygen deprivation. So I ran to my truck, and in my tool pouch, I keep a utility knife. And it didn't take all that long to cut her open and get the little fawn out. It was in the birth sac, so to speak, and so I had to rip that open to get to it. And I noticed that its heartbeat was fine. In fact, it was really rapid, but it wasn't breathing at all.
Any kind of rag?
I took my fingers and just got some of the mucus away from its mouth, and I had to do a kind of a mouth-to-snout resuscitation, get a few breaths into it to see if it would come around.
Oh, fuck, this thing ain't a few days from being born, man. Come on, babe. Come on, babe. Come on, guy. Come on, guy. Come on, I see that little, look at this. Come on. He's breathing. All right.
When it took its first breath after reviving, that was a great feeling. It was a great feeling. I mean, I thought, wow, we saved one. That was a once-in-a-lifetime uplifting feeling.
Pretty exciting little moment to see a little movement around its mouth and its eyes. And then when it opened its eyes, it was fantastic. It was great.
It was a hot day, and I was concerned about dehydration. So the first thing we tried was the water. It wouldn't take any water. We even tried to get it to suckle the mother, and it wouldn't do that.
There you go. There you go.
So we managed to squeeze some milk in the little bottle cap, and we managed to get what we felt was a little bit of milk down the fawn's throat.
Maybe a few minutes later, it let out a little squeak, its first sound, and I've never heard a newborn fawn squeak, and it was beautiful. It was like a baby's first cry.
It's beautiful. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Oh, freeway. Freeway.
Someone volunteered the name Freeway. We all kind of chuckled over that one, but it stuck right at that moment.
Hey, he's ready.
Ready to listen. He's ready.
Let me out of here.
to get up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she does.
She wanted to get up, she wanted to walk, she wanted to stretch out.
What a face.
What a face.
Freeway.
Welcome to the world.
The fawn was getting pretty active. It was in need of being restrained just because it was ready to get up and run away itself.
Freeway, the newborn fawn, was taken to a nearby exotic animal hospital and examined by Dr. Jeff Jenkins.
We cleaned the fawn up and cleaned and sterilized its umbilical cord. We then allowed Gene, since he was the foster father, to cut the umbilical cord, and which he did. Both Gene and Lisa had become very attached to the little fawn. They both were glowing with the whole idea that this little fawn had survived. The smiles would go ear to ear on these two as we worked on the deer, and it did better and better, the little fawn.
The next day, Freeway was moved to the home of Wildlife Center volunteer Mary Faust.
Yeah, she's right. There she goes. Freeway drinks goat's milk. We heat it up and feed her every 2 hours. She's very healthy, very active, loves to run and play in the yard. She's just doing super.
I think Gene did something remarkable out there, something beyond what most people would have done. To me, he's a hero.
When I see her, I think, wow, she's lucked out. It's incredible she's alive, and I hope that, she can go free again, but even if she ends up in captivity because she's too imprinted to people, I think it's a win for her. It's a good feeling to see her nowadays.
We can mix wildlife and people if we do it right, and not just blindly draw our straight lines on paper. If we have little corridors of habitat that we leave them undisturbed, don't develop them. And it allows animals to pass through underneath the freeways and go east to the more open terrain. There's no reason not to.
This whole experience with this deer was probably the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Something like that only happens to you once in your lifetime. It'll probably never happen to me again. So it was definitely a wonderful experience.
There's going to be a point where she has to go, and we're going to miss her. She's a real sweetheart.
Next.
I had tried to stop them and warn them as to how dangerous it could possibly be, but as little kids will be little kids, they don't always choose to listen to what you tell them.
I wasn't expecting to be in the hospital for 2 weeks. Suddenly there I was, having a cesarean. David was wonderful, and when it was all over, I had this perfect little person and a lot of pain. Later, I was kind of surprised when the doctor gave me Tylenol with all the other choices they have, but the Tylenol made me feel better so I could put my mind on more important things.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
A quick reminder. Lubriderm lotion restores lost moisture to heal your dry skin and protect it. Remember, the one created for dermatologists is the one that heals and protects. Lubriderm. See you later, alligator.
Ford Trucks, the best ever ran. Sales reports are in, and guess what? Ford is the leader in total truck sales for the 6th straight year. And Ford full-size pickups are #1 14 years in a row. We also make the best-built American trucks. You understand that? You understand why we stay #1.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
The battles of October heat up. They've been underdogs all season. Now it's do or die time for Atlanta. The Tomahawk chopping Braves will try to even the score. But the Pirates won 2 on the road and are now a game away from clinching. National League Game 6, Wednesday night on CBS.
How do you flunk a football hero and live to tell about it?
What makes you think you've got the right to fail my son, Gibson?
What makes you think I'm Gibson? I'm the electrician.
An all-new Teach, Wednesday.
Cops putting their own lives on the line to protect others.
Only the strong survive.
True stories, real heroes. Tough Cops, Thursday.
When a princess meets Prince Charming,
Yeah.
will her evil sister wreck the romance?
You're a better person than Deborah. Well, I'm a thinner person than Deborah. I'm not necessarily better.
Or will Cinderella
Melissa's going to the ball and I'm not even invited.
steal her prince away?
There must be someone here to dance with.
Now at 8:30 Friday.
We can't prevent every emergency, but how we respond when one occurs can mean the difference between life and death, as Connie Myers discovered on September 25th, 1984, at her home in Scotts Bluff, Nebraska.
Jamie and I had taken my husband to the airport so that he could go to one of his annual meetings.
Okay, honey, are you going to stay out and play for a while?
I knew that in a few minutes we would be leaving again because as soon as the bus arrived home with David, we were planning to go out and have supper together. Jamie is one of those mechanical-oriented type of kids that really likes anything that he can get his hands on and make it work or take it apart. I had tried to stop him and warn him as to how dangerous it could possibly be. But as little kids will be little kids, they don't always choose to listen to what you tell them. In a few minutes, I heard the bus come.
Eight-year-old David was just coming home from school.
I was walking to the house, and I saw some feet under the garage door. And I thought it was a prank or something. But then I realized that the garage door had came down on him, and it wasn't a joke.
Mom, get out here! Jamie's on the door!
And we quick tried to open up the door. We tried lifting it, but he was trapped.
Go around and turn off the switch!
His body was already turning purple and blue, and he was cold. It's one of those things you don't realize if just a couple minutes have passed, or maybe it's been 5 or 10. David ran around and punched the door from the inside.
It won't work! It's not going!
And got no response.
I don't think he's breathing!
The remote control that was laying beside James did not respond.
Connie called the nearest fire station.
Scotts Bluff Fire Department.
Scotts Bluff fire rescue units were immediately dispatched to the scene. An ambulance was also sent.
I felt like I had to help James and get that garage door up. Out of frustration, I kicked the door. Something must have loosened up, and it opened. I turned James over and attempted mouth-to-mouth resuscitation that I had learned by seeing on a poster.
God, what'd you do? I don't know, I just kicked up the garage. Is he breathing? I'm not...
Neither one of us had had any official training in giving artificial respiration.
Is it doing anything?
We really weren't getting any responses of any kind. And never having worked with this type of situation or really been around anyone that had ever been unconscious, I almost didn't know what to do. I just knew that he had to have oxygen, that would be critical. Whether he was still alive or not, it would flash through that this may be it. Maybe he is gone, but we didn't want to think that way.
There he is over here. Unit for 1097. Hold short of the right way there.
Within 4 minutes of the call, firefighter EMTs arrived on the scene, led by Captain Dan Murphy.
When we found the child, he was laying on his back in the driveway just outside of the garage.
He's been unconscious for about 5 minutes.
We began doing our primary assessment. His coloration did indicate that there had been some oxygen starvation. Although his breathing was labored, he was breathing spontaneously, not knowing how long he had been in the garage before someone had discovered him. Very definitely a serious situation.
Within a few minutes, Valley Ambulance arrived to transport the boy to the hospital.
Get him situated here. Ready to roll?
At all. He's just not moving anything.
His treatment was continued by EMT Doug Carroll.
Jamie?
He was having what looked to be some type of seizure activity, which was concerning me. There was a lot of things going through my mind, you know, if we had brain damage, if we had a neurodeficit. When we got to the hospital, it was running through my mind that I really didn't know if he was going to make it or not.
We were just hoping that everything would be okay. It was like being in shock. I mean, 1 minute Jamie was fine and happy and running around, and now within minutes we were wondering if he was going to be alive.
Sherry, can we get some vitals right away? Put him on a monitor?
The monitor looks good.
Jamie was examined at Regional West Medical Center by Dr. Catherine Collins.
He had a crush injury to his chest, and he had suffered a brain injury from lack of oxygen and from increased pressure on the brain.
Open your eyes and shine the light in.
At one point I was called in. It seemed like things were under control. And as soon as I got in there, he started to vomit. His eyes looked strange and like they weren't perceiving me at all. And so I was asked to leave so that they could continue to work on him. And then they kept getting reports that he just wasn't stabilizing.
When Jamie was finally stabilized, he was placed in a drug-induced coma to try to reduce the swelling and pressure on his brain. His father, Joe Myers, rushed to the hospital as soon as he learned of the accident.
We were asking lots of questions. Well, is he going to be okay? Is this life-threatening? What are the chances like that? And we weren't getting any real positive answers. Matter of fact, kind of negative.
The Myers could only wait for some small sign of improvement.
I refused to leave the hospital. I didn't even want to come home and check on anything. I felt that I wanted to be there if anything happened whatsoever.
After 36 hours, Jamie was brought out of the coma. Tests soon revealed that he had suffered no permanent brain damage. Six years have passed since the accident. Jamie Myers is 11 now.
I think we're all more than grateful that Jamie's still alive, because it was such a fine line as to which way he could have gone.
The fact that he was gotten out from underneath the door and that some air exchange was made by his brother to get him breathing on his own, that, without question of a doubt, made the difference in whether that young man lived or died.
We had only lived here about a month prior to this accident, so we weren't familiar with a lot of the mechanisms on the garage door. Garage doors have adjustments on them from light to heavy. And apparently this one was set at a heavier setting. There's also a bar release on the inside of the door that we were unaware of at the time that we could have manually released the door with.
Every year, children are killed by automatic garage doors that are old or improperly installed. Largely because of his older brother David, Jamie was not among them.
I really don't feel like I'm a hero. I just feel like I had to do what I had to do. The happiest moment for me is when he came home.
You finally realize how close siblings really are and how much they mean to each other and how much your children mean to you as well.
The first time I switched pain relievers, it was from aspirin to Tylenol. Then recently, I switched again, from Tylenol acetaminophen to Advil. You see, I got these really pounding headaches, and I found Tylenol didn't always get rid of all the pain. So I tried Advil and found that for my really tough headaches, 2 Advil worked better than 2 extra-strength Tylenol tablets, better than extra-strength Tylenol caplets, better than Tylenol gel caps. For my tough headaches, Advil just works better. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
How'd you get those flowers in there? Late potpourri and fresh and dear. Where'd you get them herbs and spice? Late potpourri and
And now there's new, longer-lasting Glade carpet potpourri. So now the freshness lasts even longer. Spray it, shake it, or pump it.
No one potpourris like Glade.
Started with a cry in the night. My baby was sick, and I was scared.
There's an epidemic in America. Babies are dying from diseases like measles.
Protect your baby. Get them vaccinated starting when they're 2 months old. Vaccinations are even free or low cost if you can't afford them.
I almost lost my baby. Don't lose yours.
Vaccinate before it's too late. Call 1-800-525-6789.
In order to perform life-saving techniques effectively, you need training. There are courses available through the American Red Cross and the American Heart Association. This series is dedicated to all the men and women who risk their lives to save the life of another. I'm William Shatner. Join us again next week for more true stories on Rescue 911.
How do you stop the world's greatest jewel thief? Hire him. Keep your eyes on the Palace Guard, premiering Friday on CBS. Now there's still a baseball game to be played, and they're ordered to lose. Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, and Corbin Burnson. Television premiere of Major League, next.
Hello, Acadiana. This is Carl Darwin reminding you can hear Channel 10 Eyewitness News weeknights at 6 on KEUN Eunice, Louisiana's small market radio station of the year.
To purchase a video cassette of this program, call 1-800-848-3256.